Oh, the Human Torch was denied a bank loan. I think I'm ready.
I love that film.
You better be ready. This is happening.
That could be the intro.
Go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GSC podcast. I'm your host, Louchy. This week I'm joined by Johnny.
Good evening.
Jamie C.
Hello, hello.
And Gianni Spagnoli.
Hello.
Said it in an accent, Gianni. Do you like it?
Yeah, love it.
Awesome. Start as we always do with what we've been playing. I'm going to steal the first line, though, because I've been playing Thomas Was Alone.
Ooh.
That game is probably the most fun you can have with geometric shapes. I love it, man.
Okay, go on, because this is popped up on the PlayStation. I have no idea what this is. I tried to look at some screenshots and I just saw a square trying to jump up a wall. So if you want to fill me in, it might sell me.
Yeah, cool. So it's a puzzle platformer where you play a bunch of coloured rectangles. They all have their own different abilities. They all have different jump heights and stuff. Technically, they're AIs, but the only reason you know that is because there's a narrator telling a story over the top, and he assigns them all names and personalities in these little narrations that he does on the levels. And like before you know it, you're calling them by name. So the little red rectangle thing is called Thomas, and you're actually calling him Thomas. And there's a little orange square called Chris, who's like a bastard. He doesn't like Thomas and stuff. It's awesome. It's about 100 levels, and I completed it last night. It was awesome.
Johnny.
What was that noise?
Yeah, some scratchy.
Fuck it. What have you been playing this week, Johnny?
Peace Walker. Again, more of. Yeah, it's good. I just killed Peace Walker. The actual
Peace Walker.
I just killed Peace Walker. Pretty good. Pretty big deal.
What? So are we talking? You finished the actual story, or?
No, I just killed the Peace Walker machine.
Oh,
which is like really tall and menacing, and yeah, really good. Playing it on the Vita.
Keep up with that, man, because once the actual story finishes, that's not the end of that game. There's still quite a few missions past the end of the story.
Good, because I've almost made my mech. I just need the head part. I've been just like replaying all the old missions and like getting loads of tanks and helicopters for my army.
You're hoarding.
That's so much. Yeah, it's just so much fun. I really like the meta game. You know, just building up your base, getting more army members.
I was there, man. Like, so many tanks. Just, I can't have enough tanks and helicopters in that game. I just want more. Collect.
Yeah. But yeah, it's decent, and that's pretty much it, really. Bit of awesome noughts.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that's really it.
Soon, man.
Definitely. Oh, and some Dark Souls, Ben.
Oh yeah. Look for that soon. We'll address that later. JC.
Yeah. Good evening.
What have you been playing this week, bro?
Short and sweet this week. Literally, I've been playing Lollipop Chainsaw. See what I did there.
Oh my god.
Yes. So, it came out last June, so nearly a year now, and I just completely missed it. And the other day, just doing my shopping, come across it for the PlayStation for £10. Like,
what?
Why not? So, yeah, nice short campaign. Comes from all the art style of Suda51. So, you know what you're getting in there. We've been talking about him recently as well. Shadow of the Damned and Killer 7 and so on. So, I was interested even more after really just highlighting that again.
Have you beaten it?
I finished it this morning. I wanted to finish it in time to come on here tonight.
How good is the soundtrack in that game, man?
Well, that's what it was going to be. I was going to say the soundtrack is what sells the game. Yeah, it's got its weaknesses. It's not a great game by any stretch. It's hardly a good game.
Let's be honest.
The soundtrack alone.
Most of Suda's games are a bit shit, but you love them because they're so crazy
and different.
Yeah. But I mean, like within 20 minutes of playing, you're carrying a decapitated, magically enchanted head on your waist. Only so that you get more shots of her ass, and that's just how it works. You know? But you've played it as well, Ben, haven't you?
Yeah. I love how, like, her decapitated boyfriend is probably the most serious character in the entire game, everyone else is nuts, but this just decapitated head is the one who's like the voice of reason. It's awesome.
It does work really well. So the game it sets up that you're already a zombie hunter and your whole family are zombie hunters. So you've got Juliet, you've got her two sisters and her mother and father, and it's a family of zombie hunters. But as the game starts, it's her 18th birthday, and I think they've had to stress that right from the beginning so that you are looking and dealing with an 18-year-old for this game. There are some bits in that game you were going to question what they're doing, and so it's okay though. She's 18, and we made that very clear at the start of the game.
Right,
I love that her dad is like a cross between Hulk Hogan and Dog the Bounty Hunter. It's just awesome.
But no, it's fun, and I'm glad it was only a nice little short 5-hour game. But I can't really complain for £10, and there are some funny lines between Juliet and Nick, the boyfriend. So it's worth a go. Just don't pay more than £10 for it, really.
Awesome. Gianni Spagnoli, what have you been playing this week, dude?
Not really much else from last week, and you already touched on one of them already, so I can't really add too much.
Were you playing Thomas Was Alone as well?
Well, I picked it up yesterday, and I didn't have a great time to do it, but I was just going to ask, was that the game where developers sort of made it in his spare time on a PC or something, and then people sort of urged him to put it all together? I can't remember if that was it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
Mike Bithell put it together. I think it was literally just him and somebody designing the audio for him.
Yeah.
But, mate, play that game. Seriously. I finished it last night, and it was just amazing, man.
Did you play it on the PS3 or Vita?
Vita.
Well, I downloaded it for both, but I completed it on the PS3.
Okay.
And just with this, Thomas Was Alone. It is free if you're a PlayStation Plus member, isn't it?
Yeah, probably should have pointed that out. That's the only reason we're all playing it, I think.
I was going to say, you probably should make
then.
that very clear, because that's going to get a lot of people interested.
Okay, well, I'm going to download it then.
Yeah, it's only up for a month as well, and it went under the radar. I would have missed it if I hadn't read up on some forum about it. And so you download it, give it a go. It's good stuff.
Guys.
Yeah.
E3 is coming soon.
Woo. Yes, it is.
E3 is coming soon.
40 days away.
40 days away. 40 days.
40 days.
I think we should do a bit, man. I think we should do a bit.
Let's do a bit.
Can we do that bit weekly, Ben? Can we do that weekly?
I think we should do a weekly bit.
Should we make it a little regular spot for the next 40 days?
I think it should be a regular spot until E3. I think that should be a thing.
Oh,
Let's get a theme tune and everything.
Oh, look, go on.
Gianni.
You're presenting a game this week, Gianni. You'll come up with a tune for our E3.
What we were thinking of doing is going around, each one of us having a dream reveal for E3 this year. So one thing that you really want to see revealed, or just talking in general about what you think might be revealed. So I think we should start with Jamie. Jamie, what would be your dream reveal for E3 this year, mate?
There have been a few ideas going around in my head, but I think the one that just kind of spiked last night as I was preparing for this was that I'd really like to see a new entry into the Mafia series. All of this talk recently with GTA coming out and new Saints Row part now that they've changed studio, but no, there's been nothing with Mafia recently. It would be nice to see Mafia 3.
Mafia 2 was fantastic.
I mean, Mafia 1 I didn't get a chance because it was a PC game, and I'm not going to get into that. I'm not really a PC gamer, but Mafia 2, the story involved, the detail in that, it was phenomenal, and it's just I know they can do a lot more.
Yep.
And I'd like to see that on next gen. I wouldn't want to see that as some sort of just here it is, and it's still coming out on Xbox and PS3. I want this to be something that launches sometime down the line, maybe next Christmas. Maybe they've been working on it and they just don't want to tell us.
Okay, so that's your dream reveal. Now, what's something that you actually think will get revealed?
Okay, there's been a lot of talk about how Smash Bros is going to play across Wii U and 3DS, and they have speculated, or maybe even said at some point, that there definitely will be some sort of cross-platform integration. But for me, it would be nice to see it work in a way that the Monster Hunter Wii U and 3DS will work. So you'll have one player who has the Wii U version, and you can have other players who have a 3DS console, and they've got their copies of the game in the 3DS. And I'd just like to be able to see you have your multiplayer across the consoles.
Online though, I hope.
Online as well, obviously.
Yeah.
We don't want to cut it short. We'd love to see not just Wii U players versus Wii U players online, but really get 3DS involved. And it's not asking too much, is it? It's one screen at a time, 4 players on screen. It's not really pushing the limits. Surely we can get it across both platforms.
Well, I mean, there's a precedent for it already because PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale does do that. You can play online, cross-play between PS3 and Vita, right?
Works
Yeah,
very
but
well.
it would just be nice to get it with a good game this time.
Hey, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
The
Do
only
you know
reason you
why
say that
it
is
wasn't good,
because
though?
it wasn't
Because
Smash
the
Bros.
characters can't be related to. The characters don't work together in that sort of blend. And with the Smash Bros, every character suits fighting each other, and it really works.
Well,
Yeah,
I had fun with that one guy, the raccoon.
Oh yeah, that memorable character.
God,
You know.
all the memories we have of the PlayStation All Stars battles.
Where was Crash Bandicoot? God damn. Anyway,
Yeah. Johnny,
Yeah.
you're up, man. What's your
Uh,
dream reveal for E3 this year?
I'm not asking for a lot. I just want a good Final Fantasy game.
That's
all I want.
You're not asking for a lot.
You know what
If
you're
I
going to get
am.
instead? Do you know what's going to happen?
Yeah,
They're
I'm
just
gonna
going
get
to reveal
Final Fantasy 13 again.
No, of course
That will
Oh,
be
that
the
one as
name.
well.
It just
So,
has
yeah,
again.
That's it.
Both
Oh,
of
it's
them.
lightning again. God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
that's
it
what I
doesn't
want.
What
I would really
constitutes
like-
a good Final Fantasy game to you, man?
Well, I think 9 was the best last one. You know.
That makes
Uh,
sense.
Yeah. Does it? Hopefully.
Kind of.
10 was really good, but it just went down from there, didn't it? When they got onto the PS2, they sort of focused more on graphics and less on story and gameplay.
Yeah.
Because even 10 was kind of like a going down a straight haul, wasn't it?
They
Was
took
10
away
the
a
one with
lot of
Quidditch
the-
in water?
Yes,
in water, yep.
that was really good. And then Final Fantasy 12, which was basically the online game but offline, the story was awful for that. I didn't connect to any character.
Well,
So
the main character just shouldn't have been there. Like, what was Van even doing?
Van.
There? He didn't really affect the story.
yeah,
It was that Princess Ash and Balthier or whatever. It was their story, basically.
it was.
So getting back on topic then, Johnny, what would you like to see on the, like, how do you think Square Enix can actually rejuvenate the series without
Basically giving the fans what they want. They should just look what 7 and 8 and even 9, like what made them really popular. Well, big worlds, interesting stories, towns, shops, NPCs, stuff like this. People actually want to explore a living world, not just give us one hall to go run down with no NPCs, no shops, nothing to explore, just cutscenes, battles and cutscenes. That's all they gave us.
Yeah.
No one wanted that.
Well, I think the other thing is that 7 and 8 had a great battle system. Now, I know 8's a little bit Marmite with it, with the whole materia thing.
The draw
the
system.
magic thing. Yeah, the draw system, that's it. But I think it's still... It was still different, and it gave you something else, a different way of playing it. But I imagine Jamie must be pretty bored at this at the moment.
It's all right. He'll learn to love it eventually. We'll just keep force feeding it to him.
Yeah.
Eventually,
'Cause
he'll pick up on
One
it.
of us.
Yeah, because Versus 13 only, it looked really good. That they released like a 20-minute trailer of it, like gameplay. That looked pretty good. It looked like a mix between Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, and that's what I want. So I hope they show, like this is the next Final Fantasy. It's going to be on PS3 and PS4.
Well, if they're not careful, that could end up being the next Duke Nukem.
Oh god, it's already on its way, isn't it? It's been what,
Yeah.
7 or 8 years now they've been
Yeah.
talking about that
It's
game.
not far behind. It's probably got at
Very
least
long
another
time.
2 in it.
But yeah, that's what I want. A good Final Fantasy.
Sweet. All right, and now one thing that you think definitely will get announced.
A crap Final Fantasy.
I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, Bed's laugh. Best.
Oh shit. Okay,
Yeah, but seriously.
Jenny, what
Yes.
is your dream announcement at E3 this year, mate?
I'm going to be a bit boring with my one, and I'm going to say I want to see what Nintendo have got planned for the new Zelda. I'm not talking about Wind Waker HD. I'm talking about the next gen Zelda. I really want to see them come up with something spectacular, something like when the GameCube was out and they did that tech demo of Ganondorf fighting Link, and everyone was like, "That looks amazing. We want to play that now." I want to see that, but actually for them to follow through this time, you know? To be honest, we covered most of it last week, or the week before when we were talking about Zelda. I just want to see something a little bit more, not so cutesy all the time. Just, you know, I mean, there is room for that sort of art style, but I think they can really push the boat out now with it. They got the power, they got the graphics. There's no excuse now. They can really push it and have a Zelda like, because if you imagine, the Ocarina of Time was actually quite dark when you think about it. So it would be good to see them return to that and take a bit. I'm not saying a carbon copy of Ocarina of Time, but
Twilight Princess was pretty dark, I thought. What did you think of that?
I never got hooked by it. I wanted to love it, I really did, but some of the characters I just didn't really. I don't know. I didn't feel part of it.
I disagree. I really like Twilight Princess.
Well, Ocarina of Time would have been released in 1998, at which point I was 12 years old. And yeah, you're right. I think that was a scary game. But then these people that are growing up with Zelda before that or in that Ocarina of Time generation, because it would have latched onto a lot more players with Ocarina of Time, they would have been growing up with it. That would have been quite dark to them at the time. They need something. I know what you mean. They need something darker again.
They need Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And for those like me who suck at games like Dark Souls, we just need another Zelda.
Okay, and one thing that you think definitely will get announced at E3 this year?
Definitely be announced. Again, I think most of them, of what I was going to say, has been covered. Although I'm going off it slightly, I am kind of looking forward, after seeing the trailers to GTA, I am really looking forward to that. And it's been a while since I actually got excited over a GTA game. So, yeah. But
trailers look tasty.
They do.
Yeah, I'm excited.
They really look like they're back to form, because the less said about 4, the better.
Yeah, I don't know what their thought process was. I mean, 4 was a good game, don't get me wrong, but the story was way too serious, considering like you just come off of like Vice City, San Andreas with all their humor and stuff. I didn't enjoy it. And seeing the trailer for that character Trevor just puts my mind at ease. I'm just like, that's a GTA character through and through. So at least that's still happening.
Well, the one thing that sort of I picked up straight away, the Michael character, right? That is Tony Soprano and no one else. Literally, his house.
It does look like him, and like have the same sort of like background as well. Man.
Yeah, it is literally him. Watch one episode of The Sopranos. You'll recognise his house. The kid is his kid. I can't actually remember his name, but I was just like, they are literally, that's what they've done. But as he said, at least they got someone to break the humour up, which to add some humour to it, because it actually looks pretty funny. A bit crazy.
Sweet. Okay, my dream reveal for E3 would be a good Resident Evil game, a good survival horror Resident Evil game. I want Capcom to come out on the stage and say, sorry, Resident Evil 6 was shit. It didn't work. Here is a good Resident Evil game for you. And it will just be scary. There'll be limited ammo and stuff. And it will just be all about the horror and survival.
So what do you want? Do you want it sort of more like Resident Evil 3 or 4?
Resident Evil 3 or 4. I don't mind if it plays like 4, so long as it has the limited ammo and stuff of the first 3 games.
Like Dead Space.
The third one maybe not so much, because you can make your own ammo. But I think the limited ammo of especially the bigger guns, like you only had a few bullets for each, so you end up hoarding it and stuff. And a lot of the time, you get to the end and you've got like a load of ammo for each power weapon that you don't need. But I like I like being made to feel that way. I like being made to feel like I shouldn't be using these big guns, like I should hold them off because I'm going to need them. Where I never really get that in the new Resident Evil titles, because I can buy ammo at the shop, or they just constantly feed me ammo so long as that's the only gun I've got equipped.
Because you played 6, didn't you? Resident Evil 6.
Yeah, it was terrible. Absolutely terrible. I only played the Leon campaign because this is what everyone told me was the best. And I got maybe 3 or 4 hours into it and just gave up. Like
I played the Chris campaign.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was a third-person Call of Duty for sure.
Yeah.
See, and that's not what you want to hear when you hear Resident Evil. You want to hear shit voice acting, jump scares. Oh, I got all this way and then got eaten and I had to go all the way back. That never happens in the new ones.
What did you think of Resident Evil 5 then? Did you enjoy that one more?
Resident Evil 5, I enjoyed when I played through it on co-op. Then I played it single player at a higher difficulty, thinking that's fine, I'll just run through it, and realised that how terrible that game is when you play it single player. It's just shit.
Well, lastly, how about Resident Evil Revelation? That's getting redone in for the consoles.
Revelation's good. It was good, but that's because it was broken
that's
up.
Return.
Like, every other mission was sort of different. There was an action-heavy mission, which was like Resident Evil 5 and 6, but then there was a really dark, foreboding mission on the ship where that you didn't have much ammo and stuff like that. And those bits really saved that game for me. Those bits made me enjoy that game.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the demo.
Well, what has happened to the genre then? What has happened to the series?
Well, it's like people are afraid to release a good survival horror game now. They think everything has to be Call of Duty. Everybody wants to harp on about Call of Duty. It happened to Dead Space. Dead Space 1 was a pure survival horror game. It was scary as hell. Dead Space 2 was still pretty scary. There was a lot of horror in that game, but they actioned it up a little bit. There was like more interactive sequences and things that came from an action game. And then Dead Space 3 is basically just an action game with hardly any horror in it at all. It's even got co-op all the way through the campaign, which, like, as far as I'm concerned, it's impossible to do a co-op game and have it be scary. You can't do that.
It takes away the tension massively. I was genuinely concerned for them when they announced that, and I can't say anything on it personally. I've not played it, but I just won't. I'll avoid it.
Well, actually, I'm just touching on it. I just had a thought. If you had like an Alan Wake, right? Say one of you had the torch and the other had a gun or something on the co-op. I mean, that would be pretty.
Yeah,
that would be fun, but it wouldn't be
pretty
scary.
frightening. You don't think so?
No,
because you're not in control either. You're not in control of the torch, and the other person's not in control of the gun. So you both have to sort of rely on each other to like do your job, because you know if they're like looking in a totally different direction and then they turn around.
Do you remember that bit in that one Gears of War game where one of them had to drive the car and the other one had to use the torch to burn down the krill, the bats?
It was in the first game near the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't anything like that.
Well, kind of.
What if player 2 was the torch?
Yeah.
Just choose to switch off.
It's been a bit of a Molyneux moment.
Yeah, I don't think it would be scary. I think you just laugh it off.
A big part of what makes these games scary is the isolation, like you feeling alone in the game. The moment you add another player to that, and I can talk to them, all of that like is gone. Because if I start feeling nervous, I'm just gonna crack wise or something, or start talking to them, and then that's it. Like instant tension alleviation. Like,
well, I don't know. I think if it's done, I know you're right. You're right. 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work properly. But I reckon with the right application, I think Alan Wake could actually pull it off. Even though I don't want to see a co-op Alan Wake, I think with the right application, it may work. That's all I'm saying. I think I don't want to put someone off to say don't bother trying, because it actually sounds quite intriguing. And I reckon if they can nail it, it'd be an amazing experience.
Oh, by all means, if you can make that work, if you can make a genuinely scary co-op survival horror game, make it happen. I would love to play it. I just don't think it can be done.
So, Ben, what do you think will happen at E3?
Some new peripheral is going to get announced. I don't know which company is going to do it, but it's going to make me facepalm. That is my
Microsoft.
prediction. I'm sure there is going to be a new peripheral that just makes me facepalm.
Is that like its literal functionality? Do you get like Game of Thrones for that?
That is probably what they are going to announce, I'd imagine.
Have you seen the Illuma room demos?
I haven't. I heard it mentioned though. What is it?
It's basically a projector that sort of projects sort of around your TV, so it sort of turns your whole wall into like sort of an extended screen, and like they can display like different effects, like snow build up like on your like wherever you have like bookshelf behind your TV or whatever, or they can have like straight off extend your viewing angle on the screen. So say if you're playing a first person shooter, rather than just like you can only see just in front of you and your gun, but like outside of your TV, the projector will actually display what's actually around you. So you'll be able to see what's your left and what's your right without sort of compensating on the screen. It looks pretty decent.
Have they said how much it's going to cost?
No, it's really hard to describe. You're gonna have to check it out on YouTube.
I'll check it
at
out.
describing.
You can't see it because this isn't a visual medium, but I was shaking my head and sighing that entire time, man, thinking, what is the point in that technology?
See, I'm awful at explaining things, but just check on YouTube. It does look decent. It does look good. I am interested.
Okay, well, while we're still on the topic of E3 then,
Yeah.
why is Nintendo not giving a press conference this year?
Because they got nothing to say.
Do they need to? That was my worry. Do we need these press conferences now? Are they not just big snazzy shows where they come to show us the size of their penis? Is that not what we're getting when we see these? Wouldn't you rather put all your focus? Well, no, they're going to be there, but they'll be on the floor. They won't be on the press conferences. And you think all that money and time you put into doing that, just get some fucking consoles set up on the floor with your games playing. Get some people who know what they're talking about and they're not just dressed up there to be there or fancy and for show. Get people who know what they're talking about, who want to be there, explaining what's going on with these games to you. Get you hands on and spread it word of mouth and get this out there.
Which is fine, but the coverage that the other two companies are going to be getting from their press conferences is just going to completely overshadow Nintendo. I mean, it's all very well doing your Nintendo Directs and stuff. Like, all the Nintendo fan base are going to watch those. But the people that write for the Wall Street Journal, the people that write for the New York Post, the people that write for the big papers aren't watching Nintendo Direct. They're going to see the press conferences. That's how they're getting their information. So I feel that they're going to miss a big marketing opportunity by missing this press conference.
I think Nintendo have sat down in a meeting and said, we can't afford to be wasting time and money having a big showy thing. What have they got to show it? I have a feeling that they're all in shit basically with the way the Wii U sold and the support it's had, and even the 3DS. They haven't had the sort of the ball's not been rolling for them as well. So I have a feeling it's all hands on deck. Let's just get on with the games and actually, use the money that we could be, we'd be pissing away there. What would they show off? That's the key thing, really. So maybe they decided, let's get some quality behind, because don't forget, behind every failed Nintendo console, there's been the best home first party games.
Yeah.
So
they could totally just focus on that. If they did do a press conference, just make it about the games. There's no new hardware to announce, right? But make it about your upcoming Wii U titles. Like, this is why you need to own a Wii U. Make it about your upcoming 3DS games. Say, the 3DS sales have really picked up, and here's some more amazing games that are coming to that console. You should buy it as well.
But
last week, go on.
Oh, all I'm going to say is E3 is quite an outdated concept with the amount of media that's around. So why should Nintendo have just turn up, try and outshout two brand new spanking consoles that are at war with each other, when they could wait a few months, get a good library of games with some good footage, and then just release it on the internet and something, and that will spread.
Well, this is what's working. I like the Nintendo Direct. Ben did touch on that, saying that it's for the fans, and it is working, and it can still expand the base there. The problem is they want to sell 9 million Wii U consoles between now and the end of March next year,
which they won't get with a limited, audience with the Direct shows, basically.
But don't forget, with all the hype behind the PS4 and the new Xbox, because that still hasn't been announced. There's going to be a big whole show about it. So maybe they're looking at it thinking, well, it's a bad time for us to try and be shouty about our games when people are going to be more interested in next-gen consoles. We've already had that. So if we take a back step for this one, and then in the future we'll push something out. Because don't forget, Nintendo are the big three, right? It's not like the new Ouya console or something like that. They're a household name, so people will follow. People will be drawn to Nintendo's name, whether it's on YouTube or someone puts it on Facebook, Twitter. So I don't think they really need E3 as much as they used to.
They wouldn't even have to spend any money. Like, they have got people that work for their company that I would just watch talk. Like, they've got Reggie, they've got Miyamoto. Put them out on the stage with, like, some Pikmin toys or something, and just let them talk for 20 minutes and big up the console. I'd enjoy that more than Microsoft's, probably. Their last one was terrible.
The last couple have been terrible. Had no games.
Yeah.
I've been really enjoying the actual Direct, and it's fun and it's bite size, and you're getting a bit of information every couple of weeks. And I think they're still going to come out with something at E3 that's going to blow people away. But it's going to be one of those sort of like, it's going to be almost hipster, isn't it? It's going to be like, oh, did you go down and see them do this over there? You know. It is. It's going to be almost hipster.
Nintendo, the underground gaming scene, man. Love it.
Maybe Iwata is just a massive, like, trendy.
On that large
Maybe
green
lives in
Luigi
Camden
hat.
Town.
With that Luigi hat, yeah.
Yeah. He was first. Who did
Now
that?
all the kids are wearing that.
Now all. He did it
Don't
once. Cool.
He may end up having to do Waluigi, and we all don't want that to happen.
Oh, God. Why is Waluigi called Waluigi?
Because they ran out of ideas.
Like,
why am I the only person who likes him? He's like my favourite character in the Mario universe.
Let's face it, if you're going to be touched up by one of the Mario characters, it would have been Waluigi.
It's called Waluigi because Warui is like bad in Japanese. Just like Wario, it's like Warui it means bad, so it's like Waluigi. Like this,
or they looked
into one word to make bad Luigi.
Or what actually happened is they looked at Wario and went, "Oh, look, there's a fat evil Mario. We need some ideas. How about a fat,
a slightly fat Luigi, and we'll put Wab at the beginning so that it matches."
Wab wab wab.
Okay, moving forward then. Jamie, you mentioned you wanted to talk about Beyond Two Souls, the new game by David Cage.
Good old Quantic. Sorry, what?
Emotions.
Emotions.
Good old Quantic Dream, though. They are bringing us Beyond Two Souls, and it's going to star Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe, and we're looking at release on the 8th of October, and we're getting that on PlayStation 3. And that's quite interesting as well.
PS4 and PS4, right?
Are we?
Yeah.
Well.
And Wii U.
Well. No.
And next Xbox.
No.
I feel like you're lying, Johnny.
Did you watch the? Wait, am I?
It's PlayStation only.
You know what I'm thinking of? Watch Dogs. Shut up, Johnny.
Oh God, Johnny.
Leave me alone.
I want to talk about Watch Dogs in a minute as well, because they've done something ridiculous, almost as bad as the fucking Dead Island Riptide Special Edition.
What?
But yeah, okay. So Beyond Two Souls, to my knowledge, PlayStation 3. Okay, starring Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe, and they've just released over 30 minutes of gameplay this week. And I was hoping at this point, where I'd asked you guys to look into this, that we've all seen the video.
I haven't, but I have watched all the new trailers and stuff, so I do kind of know what's going on with the game.
Well, if you just play Heavy Rain and you've got Super on your DVD player in the background, you start to blend them together.
Wait, the film Super?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
With the rape scene at the end.
What?
That still disturbs me a bit. Super, the film with the guy from The Office, yeah, and Ellen Page.
Yeah, Rainn Wilson. Yeah.
She rapes him at the end of that film. She rapes him. She forces the mask on him, and she rapes him. It's fucking disgusting.
No. Yeah, because I imagine he didn't want that.
See Rainn Wilson get raped by Ellen Page. Fucking hell.
I want to see it now.
I'm intrigued.
So what did the gameplay actually look like? Because I was running under the assumption that this was going to be just like Heavy Rain, but they've shown a lot more in the trailers of her being pretty capable as in terms of combat and things like that. So
yeah,
you deliver a baby in the video. That happens. You have to cut the cord and everything. Yeah.
But it does play similar to Heavy Rain, right?
Yeah, you've got your old shaky control, button
On-screen
combinations,
prompts.
slowly, yeah. And it's really subtle, that nice little just shaky X outline above her head and so on. And that's the best way to do it, really. And they are blurring the line even further again, aren't they? They've got big name actors in there this time.
Yeah.
The actual plot of the game, you follow her over 15 years of her life, right? And she's haunted by some sort of entity.
By Willem Dafoe.
No, it's not Willem Dafoe. He's in that game. He's like a social worker / doctor / carer type person, right?
Right.
I assume he works for like the CIA or someone like that, and she's sort of kept under their watch because of this entity that she has. Or I don't know whether they're assuming it's an ability, but
Well, yeah, in the trailers, like she wreaks havoc, doesn't she? She can cause
like
some stuff to go down.
but it's
The little
it's
kid
this
out of
other,
Luther.
it's this
Yeah,
other
pretty
entity,
much.
this spirit called Aiden, I believe they're calling him.
Aiden,
Yeah. So I'm as far as I know, you can play as both of them. So you can be controlling Ellen Page and then use Aiden to do other things, like he could obviously possess people or move objects and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't
Go into
know.
the freezer and get his bird's eye out. Sorry.
What I didn't know is I assumed that she was just going to be like a normal person, like a normal girl who's haunted. But in the most recent trailers, you see her training in like a dojo with like CIA guys, and you also see her decked out full on in like Sam Fisher Solid Snake mode with like camo face paint and combat gear and stuff. So I don't know whether she like is actually like a secret agent at that point. It looks pretty interesting. What did they show in the actual 30-minute gameplay?
Delivering a baby, playing guitar, falling over in the snow and being found by a hobo.
Mm-hmm.
And that really sets up a nice section. You see her being taken in by these homeless people, and they start to connect. And that's where she delivers the baby. One little homeless ladies is pregnant.
Gross.
And I mean, if it's not really going to give anything. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Sorry.
Welcome to week 3 where it all falls apart.
Right, listen.
Sorry.
But the video ends with Ellen Page just being smashed out on the floor. Not breathing, building burning down around her. And then the emergency services come, and then that's where we end it.
Well, the game's taken like I said, it's taken place over like 15 years of her life. How long do you reckon it's going to actually run for, though? Like, how long do you think the game will be? Because Heavy Rain, I think I remember that game taking me about 7 or 8 hours to beat. But thinking back, that's because I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm thinking that game could probably be ran through in like 5 hours, maybe less.
Well, yeah, I did. Heavy Rain I got through in one sitting, whereas this, I don't. They're going to have to go bigger. They're going to have to go better. Heavy Rain was nice. It had replay value because you had so many different endings. There were 22 endings, I believe. Yeah, well, okay. Do a separate podcast just for the plot holes.
All right then.
But yeah, because of the amount of endings in there, you could afford for that to be a shorter game. And Beyond Two Souls, I don't see how you can have so many spanning stories if these are going to be your main 2 characters.
Well, maybe they're going down a different sort of route then, where they thought, well, we had all these, these different stories, different endings in the other one. Why don't we just, instead of filling the content like that, we could just fill it down with one journey which everyone experiences, and maybe branch it off a little bit towards the end. But yeah, maybe they've just taken a different approach to it if it's spanning over someone's life for 15 years.
I agree with that, man, as well. I think more developers should do that. As nice as multiple endings are, they encourage multiple playthroughs, which increases the replayability of the game. I think rather than focusing on like, oh, we're gonna have like so many different endings, like use that development time to increase the length of the actual story you want to tell. Like, tell me the best possible story you can. Like, don't even if it means sacrificing that choice. Like, oh, do I want the good or the bad ending? Like, I'd rather have a well-written, well-delivered ending that leaves me satisfied rather than like 22 meh endings that I have to play through the game 22 times to get, you know?
I think if you can hide in a fridge while your kitchen blows up, then I'm sold.
Yeah.
But I
Who
think
did that in Heavy Rain? I didn't do that. I heard
I
you
did
could
it.
do that though. You
Yeah,
could
I
hide
did it.
in the fridge while your kitchen. Okay.
I went out the
Crashing
window.
though. Yeah, I got out the window.
That entire
I don't know
scene
why-
was kind of broken for me though, because he made eggs, right? And as he lifted the pan away, the egg just stayed floating there. And like it stayed there the entire time, so that when I was going out the window, the egg was still just floating over the stove. Crazy, man. That game was buggy
you have
as
a
hell.
dilemma of
It
whether
was.
to go back to get the floating egg and sell on eBay. I could be a millionaire.
Well, talking about game length then, Hideki Kamiya of Platinum Games,
That wasn't
I believe.
racist.
What? That was. I didn't try and be racist.
Carry on.
Look, doing an accent isn't inherently racist, man. If I wanted to
Depends
say
how bad it is.
Hideki Kamiya of Platinum Games, that's not racist. That's just me making a noise, man.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I'm a lovely person. All right,
Just making
anyway.
a little racist noise.
It's not racist. Anyway, he was on Twitter recently saying that the Wonderful
was?
101, his upcoming Wii U game, which is kind of like Pikmin with superheroes, as far as I know.
Yeah, it is.
Pikmin on some sort of drug that makes everything go faster.
Yeah. Well, he was saying that people shouldn't expect it to be a long game because he's focused on making his game fun. So he says it's going to be a short but really fun game. And do you know what? I respect him for saying that because other studios wouldn't have said a thing.
As long as it's got good replay value, or if it doesn't, it's gonna have to be cheaper. It can't be £40. If it's gonna be, it's hard to, like Kane and Lynch. That was 4 hours.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, Dog Days was 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that game crash in price on its second week
Yeah.
of release.
Are we
Right.
gonna see the same thing? Like, if this game is 4 hours, people can be like, it's okay, it's fun.
But
Was
you
Kane and Lynch
got to
good?
think, Kane and Lynch Dog Days was shit. That was 4 hours and it was shit.
It
Right?
wasn't that bad.
That's why it.
Right?
That's why it didn't deserve its price. I don't see a problem with it. If a game is really fun, I'm talking a really good game. I don't see why you can't charge $60 for a game that's 4 or 5 hours long. If it's a game that you really enjoy and you're going to keep and you will play again, then like why not?
Do you know how?
I'll
Yeah, carry
go
on.
back to Xbox Live, and Limbo was a prime. Not it was a prime thing for this.
Example.
Example. How many of you spent 1,200 Microsoft points and went, I wish there was more? You enjoyed it. But how many times have you actually gone back to play it as well? Because I've played it once, twice, and the replay value of it is pretty poor. I mean, I think it's a great game. I really like looking at it, but it doesn't bring you back, and you feel you've spent.
I got stuck on that game.
Sorry,
the
which
most you
game? I
could
missed
at
the
the time.
game.
Limbo now.
On
we're
an
on
Limbo,
Xbox Live
okay.
game for not a lot of fun. Limbo. So it's not even the fact that $60 or 60 quid. Even for whatever it is, it's got to be relative. The price has got to be relative to the content you're receiving, because no matter how much you like a game, you're always going to put value to it. So you're right, it's got to have to replay, but it's got to be interesting or funny or something to hook you. Like the Monkey Island games that I keep going on about. They're actually quite short. So once you finish the puzzles, you know all the answers. So you could finish it in, well, I think I finished it in less than 2 hours, something like that. But it was still made me want to go back to it.
Yeah, well, 9 games out of 10, I'll sit back at the end and I'll say, wow, that was fantastic, but I'm done with that now. And then there'll be that odd one that I get so excited after finishing it, I want to go back in and play it. All of that meshed into one. If I'm going to pay, say, £40 for a game, it doesn't matter how long or short it is, but I want to be able to get replay value up to at least 25, 30 hours if I'm going to pay £40 for a game.
Yeah.
So whether it's a one campaign at 30 hours or whether it's one campaign that's shorter and I have that replay value, I want to be able to at least know a good 25, 30 hours for my money that way.
Yeah.
I
At least.
I don't think it's relative, right? You're going to see it soon. Johnny and I are going to be playing through Onimusha Warlords on the PS2, and hopefully you should see that on the channel soon. That game is not long. We're probably going to have that game done in 4.5 hours, maybe less. But I would gladly pay £40 again for that game if they released it today. If that game was just the same game, but pretty, like they just did the graphics up and stuff, I'd gladly buy it at full price.
But you would replay it. That's the point.
I totally would replay it. So yeah. I kind of get what you guys are on about.
Yeah. I go back to Tomb Raider in the first week, and I'm claiming that's one of the best games this year. It's still a really short game, and I I had that game done in under 6 hours.
Well, I thought it was huge.
No, I mean, in terms of campaign, the campaign itself is very short. There are things you can go back in and do, and it's nice to see them stemming off and doing this with their games as well. When they put their hand up and say, okay, we know the campaign itself, the core story is quite short. If you really enjoy it, here are these other things that won't take away from the story, but you can still do these at the same time, such as actually tomb raiding in that game. It's not involved in the main story as such, but you can do it as side quests, and you can go off and find like loot in tombs.
That sounds like a perfect balance. And I mean, when I did the run through of BioShock 1 the other day, I actually didn't realise how short the game actually is. Because when I first played it, I was getting too distracted with finding stuff and looking around and taking stuff in. So you're right. There is you can have that balance. You can have a short storyline, but make people want to go out and do the other stuff. And Ni no Kuni is another one. All right, that is quite a long game anyway, but it's made so much longer by wanting to do all the side quests and everything else. So there is that attraction to it as well. So if you're just somebody who wants to go through main campaign, you've got them catered for. But if you've got people like us who actually quite enjoy the games a little bit more, there's something else to draw you in. So, and you'd happily pay 50, 60 quid, 40 quid for it.
Why did you have to mention Ni no Kuni then? Because now that's all I want to do. After this podcast, I'm going to go and play Ni no Kuni.
It was replay value. It was replay value that came up, and it's been on my head, and I just want to go back and carry on with my second playthrough.
Okay, I'm going to have to show you guys the Game Breaker character called Griffey, because if you downloaded Ni no Kuni through the PlayStation Store, you got Griffey as a download, and it is like overpowered. Absolutely.
Is he mad OP?
Yeah, I give that character to the female and let her run with it.
Does she not die all the time then? Because she spends her entire time dead on my game.
She just literally keeps harping on.
That was fucking
Taxi.
Oh man! I'll tell you something else that happened. Kevin Conroy isn't voicing Batman in the new Arkham Origins game.
What is that about?
What is that about?
Is this more upsetting than David Hayter not coming back for Snake?
Nope.
No.
I think there's a massive scale difference. As much as I love Kevin Conroy as Batman, and if people say to me, who's your favourite Batman, I will say Kevin Conroy.
Yep.
I still think David Hayter as Snake, because that's just how you know Snake, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just one voice actor. He's voiced Snake throughout all of them. And now he's suddenly not. You know what would make sense? I would get that, so MGS5 is broken off into two parts. Phantom Pain is the second half, so that's after 9 years after Peace Walker, isn't it? And then the Ground Zeroes is straight after Peace Walker, so that's first. And then it's 9 years split, and then the Phantom Pain. So if David Hayter just voiced the Ground Zeroes, then he was in the coma for 9 years, and then he wakes up and his voice is changed. I guess that would explain why in MGS4 Snake's talking to Big Boss and they sound different.
No,
that would make more sense.
That makes sense. Yeah,
all of them. I want MGS4 with David Hayter doing Big Boss's lines, so it's just him talking to himself in that last scene.
Well, if Nolan North can do it, why can't David Hayter?
So does it bother you guys then?
Yeah.
I'm furious. I am furious.
I'm not rage.
Does it depend on the character's stature? So you talk about Snake being like the whole Metal Gear Solid series and David Hayter being a massive part of that. That is a disappointment compared to
me, yeah, because he is Snake to me. Like I just don't get Kojima because the Japanese version's keeping the same voice actor, but yeah, he's like, oh, we want to go in a different direction, so we're going to change the English voice actor, but not the Japanese voice actor. So I reckon
there's got to be an issue.
Something's going down, yeah.
Well, I think
they're both saying nothing, but maybe there's money issue and they're not admitting
I
it.
don't know. Because David Hayter made up a bit of a fuss on MGS4. He wanted Kojima to change a few things because he didn't agree with. So there's going to be an MGS4 spoiler, kind of. You know when Snake's got the gun in his mouth and he was going to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And Snake's starts to shake and can't go through with it and starts to fall down and does he cry? I don't know. He probably cries. Yeah. And David Hayter wanted the guys to sort of contact Tokyo and sort of change it. He said, "Oh no, if Snake wanted to kill himself to save people, he'll just kill himself." And obviously, he had a bit of a dispute with Kojima. He didn't agree with the way he played it out.
Well, it's a tough one for Hayter because, as well as being the main voice actor, he's beaten every game in the series. So, he is a massive fan as well as the lead voice actor. So, I think Kojima could maybe stand to listen to him in some of those regards because I'd be of the same opinion. If I thought that, Snake needed to kill himself to save someone, he would just do it because that's who Snake is.
Exactly. I agree, but I don't know. I'm really going to miss David Hayter. If he isn't, there are some rumors that he is going to be in it, and I just don't know what's going on. Kojima, fuck. But
well, we're still quite far out, and there's time for Kojima to be like, "Damn, I did not expect this fan backlash." David, do you want to just come do it?
Mate,
could be a big U-turn. Could be a massive U-turn.
Because didn't the same thing happen with Splinter Cell with Michael Ironside? Who used to do Sam Fisher.
Out as well, isn't he?
Yeah, and now it's by Eric Johnson, who's in Blacklist. It didn't because they're fans. I liked Conviction a lot, and some of the previous ones. But yeah, I thought he was a great, voice actor as Sam Fisher, and now he's out. He's being replaced.
It's not going to be the same because Michael Ironside has got a unique voice, man. It's really, really gravelly, and if the new guy can't match that, then it's not going to be the same Sam Fisher.
Yeah, whereas Kevin Conroy for Batman, like you said, different people have played Batman in movies and animated TV shows and stuff. So Batman's kind of like a concept, a bit like James Bond, where anyone can sort of step into those shoes and sort of play it out a little bit different. But Snake is one character to me, so that's how I feel.
Yeah, the way it kind of works, I feel that. I mean, I will miss Kevin Conroy voicing him, just because I'm such a massive fan of the animated series. I grew up on it, so to me, Kevin Conroy's voice is Batman's voice, which is why I loved it in Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, because it was just a throwback. It was this voice is from my childhood, so I can enjoy it even more.
I guess because Mark Hamill didn't carry on, right? He's not doing Joker, so maybe he thought, oh, if Mark Hamill's not going to carry on, I'm not going to bother. It just won't be the same.
Maybe they're double team now. Maybe they just love each other too much when it comes to that project, and if they're going to do it, they want to do it together. And
yeah,
I don't know. Mark Hamill's probably too busy trying to get into the new Star Wars film. That's with him. But the way with David Hayter voicing Snake, it would be like if they announced Uncharted 4 and they were like, "Oh yeah, but Nolan North isn't going to voice Nathan Drake." As far as I'm concerned, that voice is that character, and if you put a voice to it, it's just not going to be the same. It won't be the
precisely.
Same character.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head there. And I think the last thing, and we touched on it, is if they do change the voice actors, then they should change the direction of the game or the main character. And that's not always ideal, but it means you're not trying to stay true to the game, because you will always get that comparison. You'll always get, it's a different actor, it's ruining, So with James Bond and the Batman, the films, whenever they've had a new one, they've always gone a different sort of direction or changed the character slightly to.
But they all brought something good to the table, with the exception of George Clooney, because that film is a fucking abortion. But there's no point. There really is no point. Sorry, I'm supposed to be talking about the Batman thing here, but just David Hayter is still playing on my mind. Why won't Kojima just let him voice it? There's no reason. There really isn't a reason, because the Japanese voice is the same. I don't want to start going in circles, but that really bugs me, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think what we've established then is that we do come to love these voice actors for who they are.
It means a lot to fans.
And then when you pick up such a big voice, I think Booker DeWitt's a really good example with Troy Baker and how strong that voice is there. It's only once you finish that game and you really love that character that you start to realise he was in other things before.
Really? Because I really enjoyed Bioshock Infinite, and I could fucking care less about Booker DeWitt, man. Elizabeth stole that entire game for me.
No spoilers. Just putting it out there.
No, okay, we're not. Yeah, we won't spoil anything Bioshock Infinite, but still, I thought Troy Baker was a great voice actor in that role.
He did his job well. It just
fine. Yeah, it seemed fine. But it isn't really about him.
Overshadowed.
You don't really, yeah.
He's a supporting actor, but it's still nice to appreciate what he's doing.
Oh yeah,
I mean, what's he been in before? Because I haven't picked up on him in anything else.
Okay, because I watch cartoons, I would have picked up on a lot of stuff. He's when he was in the Ultimate Spider-Man series, he was Hawkeye. He's done some voice acting for Generator X on TV.
Okay.
He's in. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he's. If you go back through that Arkham City game, he's Nightwing, and then he's also Nightwing again in Injustice, Gods Among Us. Cool. So he's continuing that role, and where they've had that Ultimate Spider-Man character of Hawkeye, he then continues that character when he's in Avengers Assemble, and he's still going to be doing Two-Face as well. Two-Face, sorry, from Arkham City, and Two-Face from Lego Batman.
Wow. So he's really prolific then. He's got a pretty good back catalogue of work.
Well, and still to come, and one of the biggest ones that we haven't mentioned is The Last of Us.
Is he voicing Joel?
He's Joel, yeah.
No, wow. Really?
Okay, well, that's awesome, because
I have respect.
His voice was good as Booker DeWitt. It was just a forgettable character, but that voice will totally work for Joel.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait for The Last of Us. When's that due? It's pretty soon, isn't it? June or July? Or was it put back?
No, I think it's still...
Every game ever gets put back. Apparently it's still the 14th of June.
Well, it'll get put back, though.
But that'll get put back again.
Yeah, well, that's on my list as a contender. I think that could fight Bioshock for Game of the Year. Again, if Dark Souls doesn't come out.
I'll get my PS3 by then. My one broke, didn't it? Get a new one.
I don't know if there's any point at this stage. Not with the PS4 so close, like 5 months out or something.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, you could always play them on your new. Oh wait, hang on a second.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
We found a hole.
Oh no.
PS4 doesn't play PS3 games.
Guys, guess what?
I like voice actors.
What happened?
Guess what happened?
What happened?
We got some listener feedback. The first listener feedback we've ever received.
Woo!
Amazing.
And I'm going to make a big deal about it.
Let me just ruffle my papers and find all this information. Just find it.
This is serious business, man. Our first listener feedback. Now, given it's friend of the show, Daniel Leggett, who you can reach at Daniel21Leggett on Twitter.
Yay.
And he wants to know, free-to-play games which allow you to pay real money for extras, would you pay for it? His example is League of Legends. What do you guys think?
So I'd say yes, I think people do pay money, a lot of money, because it's a very popular business model. League of Legends has become the most popular esports now, hasn't it? Because it used to be StarCraft. I think League of Legends has taken over how popular it's become.
Yeah.
They must have made a lot of money, Riot Games. I've personally bought characters for League of Legends. When I was into it, I really enjoyed it. And you do sort of get hooked. You feel like, I've spent 50 hours on this game. I've not even spent any money. Because you can, it's an option. But if you actually want to own a character to play for good, because they have a rotation cycle every day, you get to choose a different character to play, but you don't get to keep them.
What I would like to know, when I'm playing a game, I like to know on the surface that if it's going to be free to play, what is going to come at a cost later on, and they need to reveal that to me straight away. And I also need to know that if I'm playing a free to play game, that the cost content isn't going to put me at disability if I don't buy it. So I don't want to be at a disadvantage to people who have bought it if I don't. I like it when it's perks, when it's extra colors and costumes and characters. But if it starts to become level ups and weapons that are more powerful than your normal banding,
Yeah,
then
pay
I
to
just
win,
think
they
it's
call it.
quite, yeah, that's unfair.
Yeah. Guild Wars 2, I know you have to pay the game, but they have like an online store anyway where you can sort of buy gems. That's how they get away with not having a subscription fee. When all that like extra stuff that you can buy is fluff, really. Like you can get like different like armors which don't do anything. They're different visuals, and you can buy like, extra bank spaces and stuff which you don't really need. So I think that's done pretty well. Isn't DC Universe? That's online. That's free to play now, isn't it?
Yeah, that transitioned into it in the same sort of way that Guild Wars works. So there's like there's a currency that you can use to buy certain items in the game, like, or you can just buy those items using real money. But it's none of it's necessary. Like you can always still level up and stuff. And I think it's like EXP boosters and things like that as well.
See, I think that's fine.
I mean,
that's not too bad.
I know, again, it's not a free-to-play game, but the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, I put a lot of money into that. Now, I shouldn't have done because I bought the game, but I love that franchise so much. If it's like that, and you're paying for, like, basically unlocks and things, but you can also do it, like, through just playing the game, I think that's probably the best way. So say you play a load of matches, you'll earn points or currency or whatever through playing the matches. So you can either do that, save up by playing the game for a long time and then purchase your things that way, or maybe just purchase the things using a small amount of real world money instead. I think it works out quite well because people aren't going to have the time to grind away on these games forever. Like some people have the time to just play a game non-stop all week and, you know, they're going to get to their good equipment very quickly. Whereas somebody who has a full-time job, has a family, maybe only has a chance to play, you know, a couple of hours a week, they might want to spend, you know, just a couple of pounds or a couple of dollars just to get some content that keeps them relevant with their friends who are playing it more often. So I personally don't have a problem with the system at all, so long as it's balanced well.
Yeah, well said.
You get that bit there, which is like the quick money pack, isn't it? You see it in games, normally from EA or, you know, other,
not naming any names.
other companies are available. But yeah, things like the Need for Speed series would start to have like the unlock packs, and couldn't you do it in Sleeping Dogs as well? Couldn't you buy all of the unlocks just straight off the bat, or you could buy
not needed.
You could buy red envelopes or whatever of money straight away.
Dead Space 3 with buying the stuff to upgrade your weapons, right?
Yeah.
I don't like it in that game.
Yeah,
I don't like it in that game because
see, if it's done poorly, it's really, you know, detrimental to the company and the game. Like, it just makes you think, oh, what? They're asking for more money. I've just bought this game.
But what they did is, in Dead Space, they made it your little resource gathering drones.
Yeah.
Like, basically what you do is you pay for them to find more resources and to increase their speed. So to me, all that says is that's how they originally were, and they were like, what? Well, maybe if we cut the resources they gather and like make them twice as slow, we can then sell that as DLC to make it quicker. Like,
just make us a quick buck. It's just,
which, like, that just feels like I'm being nickel and dimed at that point. Like, you just want all the money you can out of me.
It has to be done well.
Okay, so yeah, you do it in a free-to-play game, and if it works, you've got to keep those servers running somehow, haven't you? So a little bit of paid content isn't going to hurt there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not dead against free-to-play, but I really dislike most of the applications for it. I mean, when you've got something like Team Fortress 2's, I mean that's really works quite well. You know, and people, you know, you can enjoy it quite well. And if you want a hat or something, you know, it's a bit of fun, right? And you kind of feel as like you owe it to the developer. But when you got something like, I don't know, with FIFA's Ultimate Team, I mean, that sort of stuff really, really gets on my nerves. And I mean, touching us on that as well is season passes. I know that it's not free to play, but there's something else which is creeping in more and more games, and it's getting more and more irritating. And again, there's the perceived value. But yeah, sorry, I don't mean to muddy the water at all. But
no, mate, I completely agree. Especially with season passes, that is a fucking stupid concept. Essentially, what you're doing there is you're pre-ordering DLC. You're basically putting down money on the promise that they will make this DLC in the future.
and it will be good, because they don't even tell you most of the time. It's like, oh, it might be some map packs, or it might just be a new multiplayer mode that could be crap.
Exactly.
But there's no guarantee.
It could be a story mode that you don't want.
I mean, I don't even really agree with pre-ordering games unless you've played that demo or you know for a fact that that game is going to be something that you like. You shouldn't pre-order it. You should hold out, wait to see like what your trusted review source says about it, or one of your friends who's playing it. Like, hold off on that, because otherwise you're going to make a bad decision and buy a game that turns out to be shit, or buy Aliens Colonial Marines, basically. Right? And that had a season pass. Is that still going to get DLC?
Yeah, see?
Somebody bought that season pass somewhere, and that game just went to shit. Is that still going to get DLC? Are they going to provide that, like, the quality that you expect from paying for a season pass? Are you going to get that satisfaction now? I doubt it. I don't think that's going to happen.
For me, I think it's a bit of a mug's game. I mean, it's almost like Kickstarter for EA or whoever you want to talk about. You know, that you're giving them money for something they've not even created yet, and they may not even bother with. So you may end up with fuck all, and they end up with your money, and then you can't help feeling a little bit ripped off.
Well,
but then again,
they have to make something. They can't just not make anything.
Well, there's no guarantee, is there? I mean, you know, with Game Bombs, they can release one DLC, you get it early, and then that's it. You know, they turn off the servers. What can you do? They've got your money. This is the problem I have. Is, well, then again, if you're stupid enough to do it, then it's your own problem. It's not my fault. You know, if you don't like something, don't buy it. But yeah, it's almost, you know, going back to what you guys are saying, where you're basically paying to finish a game. It's not a good way. It's not a good model for gaming. It's almost quite sad, really, that people want to finish the game before they've even played it, and the fact that developers want to cash in on that they basically turned to the whole team and gone, yeah, we've spent all this amount of time creating this game which we're proud to put our name on. Well, you'd hope they're proud, but we're going to give the player the money. We're going to take some money from the player, and they can finish the game in seconds, minutes. You know, I mean, what's the point? You know,
Yeah, I agree with you completely, Jenny. At that point, like, why would you pay money to decrease your enjoyment from the game?
Well, this is the point. I mean, I always used to play GTA. Is a great example. When I was a kid, I mean, when I was old enough to play it, I'd play the game all the way to the end, right? And then I'd get the cheats out, and then I'd have some fun. Right, I'd unlock everything, but I'd go to my friend's house and he's going around in a tank. I'm like, well, how far did you get into the story? Oh, I played a couple of bits, but I'd like just going around in a tank and blowing things up. I'm like,
you can't knock him for that though, because that's basically all I ever did on GTA: banging the cheats, infinite guns or whatever, get the tank, go on a warpath, see how long I can survive with all that stuff. Never the god mode though, because that's cheating. You know, you want to try and survive. There wants to be some urgency there. But, like, outside of doing the missions, that was the fun. Like, going on rampages and stuff in GTA is what I really enjoyed doing, so...
I suppose it probably wasn't the best of examples, but in hindsight. But then again, would you have paid to do that? Would you have paid 40, 50 quid for the game and gone, yeah, I want to pay another tenner to have all the guns and the tanks and the airplanes and helicopters? You wouldn't.
That's how it would be now.
That might happen. GTA 5, you might have to get your mobile out in game, and then that might be like, 500 Microsoft points to unlock this phone number, and so on.
Can you imagine the original Mario's? you get to Toad, and he's like, "Our princess is in another castle, but if you pay us some money, she might magically appear."
Fucking Mass
in the
Effect 3
DLC
did that.
castle.
Mass Effect 3 did that at the end of the game. It was like, Shepard has now become a legend. Look forward to future stories in this universe as DLC. It basically said that to me. Like, not only was I already let down by the original shit ending, which props to BioWare, they actually addressed a lot of that in a free DLC, so thumbs up. But then they gave me this message saying, oh, you know, that ending was a bit shit, but why don't you buy some stuff? Starting to get a bit crazy.
Let us have more money.
But yeah. Daniel 21 Leggett, I hope we've answered your question. I've got one for you now. What are you going to do when you turn 22? You going to change that?
I'm pretty sure he's over 22 already.
Yeah, I think he is.
Never mind.
This is you with your email address all over again. Why have a bloody date? in the...
Because when I made that email address, I
Unless
was
you're perfect.
16 and I was pretending to be 18 to go on porn sites. All right.
It
So
all
Ben
comes out.
Louchy's top tip: if you're underage,
Well, that was back in the dark ages before Google image search did your job for you. So... Oh, how long have we been running?
God, you've just deviated. Get off.
Yeah, you're a sexual
Deviant. Woohoo!
deviant.
Okay, well, if that's everything, guys, I am tired and my arms are burning, so I think I might end it there. Do you guys have anything else you want to go through?
yeah, why are your arms burning?
Yeah.
Through Janny.
Because I was sat in a pub garden all day with no sunscreen, thinking, oh, this is a nice day, and then they went fucking bright red, and they burn, and I feel like crying.
Baz Luhrmann teach you nothing.
Could you not have just said that you touch yourself a bit too much and that's why they hurt?
What?
I mean, let's face it, which ones are more entertaining?
That's all, folks. Thanks for joining me, people. Look for our Onimusha playthrough, which should be up hopefully by the weekend.
Yes.
We're going to be doing the entire game, Johnny and I.
Yep.
Should be pretty fun. We're going to try and get as much of the secret crap as we can.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Should be enjoyable. But yeah, thanks for joining me, guys.
No, thank you. What?
Pleasure. Always.
Yeah.
And
Until next week.
Yeah, we will see everyone next week. Take care, peeps.
Woo!
Cool, bye.